to the 7th power. When you're trying to expand a binomial, we use Pascal's triangle. Okay, Pascal's triangle is a lot easier to expand this because the alternative would be to write x plus y 7 times and then foil and foil and foil and distribute and distribute and distribute, and it would take a long time. So, to use Pascal's triangle, what's the first thing we need to do? Okay, Derek, what? Yeah. Okay. Since it's to the 7th power, you go to the row with the 7 in it. Okay? So 1, 7, 21, stop talking, 35, 35, 21, 7, 1. Okay, those are your coefficients. 1, 7, 21, 35, 35, 21, 7, and 1. Okay, then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to bring down the terms from the binomial. X was first, so it comes down first. And then y was second, so it comes down second. Be quiet. Okay, since x is first, it gets to be raised to the 7th power first. And then from there, it goes down to the 6th power, to the 5th power, 4th power, 3rd power, 2nd power, 1st power, all the way to the 0th power. Okay, now your second term, which was y, will do the opposite. It'll start out to the 0 power and go up to the 7th power. Now, the reason it works like that is because, remember last Friday I was telling you that within each term, the exponents add up to the overall term of 7, or the overall exponent of 7. 7 plus 0 is 7. 6 plus 1 is 7. 5 plus 2 is 7. 4 plus 3 is 7, and so on. Okay, if your exponents within the term do not add up to your exponent from the from the question, something's not right. Okay. On the next line, you're going to simplify. When I look at this first term, is it really necessary to write the 1? No. No. So I can bring down x to the 7th power. What is y to the 0 power equal? 1. Remember, anything to the 0 power equals 1. So is there any need to bring it down? No. So I'm done with term 1. I've brought down everything that's necessary to bring down. So now plus... Let's look at term 2. I need to bring down the 7. I need to bring down the x to the 6. But when I bring down the y, it's not necessary to put the power of 1. That's understood. Okay, so now I'm done with term 2. Okay, term 3. What all needs to be brought down? All of it. There's nothing up there that would be understood if you didn't write it. Okay, what about term 4? All of it. 35x to the 4th, y cubed. What about the 5th term? Right? Sixth term? Seventh term? 7x, no need to write the power of 1, y to the 6th. And then the last term? Just y to the 7th is necessary. Now, how many terms did I end up with? 8. And remember Friday we learned that you'll always have one term more than the exponent was? Okay, now today we're going to be trying it with numbers. Okay, the same rules apply. It's just when we go to simplify, there might be a little more to do with numbers. The first thing I need to do is find the coefficients from the triangle. Since this is a plus 4 cubed, I go to the triangle. Which row do I use? 1, 3, 3, 1, right? Oh, and also think about it. If it's cubed, aren't you going to have 4 terms? So don't you need to go to the row with 4 boxes? So 1, 3, 3, 1. Okay, now A was the first part of the binomial, so it comes down first. And then the second part of this binomial was a 4. Since it's a number, we're going to put it in parentheses. Okay, anytime it's a number, put it in parentheses. Okay, now just like we've done, A is first, so it starts out cubed. And then 4 does the opposite. It starts out to the 0 and then increases all the way up to the 3rd power. So that in each term, the exponents add up to 3. Okay, now, simplifying is a little bit different here. It's not really harder, it's just you have to pay attention because there's numbers raised to other numbers. So, in that first term, don't we basically have a 1 times an A cubed times a 1? Okay, because look, there's a 1 times an A cubed, and isn't anything to the 0 power 1? Well, what's 1 times A cubed times 1? A cubed. So I'm done with term 1. Okay, in term 2, don't I have a 3 times A squared times 4? Because 4 to the first power is just a 4. Okay, what is 3A squared times 4? 12A squared. So now I'm done with term 2. Okay, term 3, I have a 3 times an A to the first, which you could just write as A, times a 4 squared, which is 16. Now, what do you do here? What's 3 times A times 16? Okay, so what do you get when you do 3A times 16? 48A. 48A. Okay, so now we're finished with the 3rd term. Now moving on to the 4th term. We have a 1 times A to the 0, which is also a 1, times 4 cubed, which is what? 64. So what's 1 times 1 times 64? 64. And that is your final answer. That's the answer you would have gotten had you written out A plus 4 times A plus 4 times A plus 4. You would have FOILed those two and got A squared plus 8A plus 16, and then you would have distributed the A plus 4 left over to it. A times A squared is A cubed. A times 8A is 8A squared. A times 16 is 16A, and then you would have to distribute the 4. 4 times A squared is 4A squared. 4 times 8A is 32A, and 4 times 16 is 64. Oops, that's the 16. So see how they got the A cubed, the 12A squared, the 48A, and the 64? But don't you prefer to do it with Pascal's triangle instead of that? I mean, when it's cubed, it's not so hard. All of y'all could do that. But when it gets bigger and bigger, it would take a lot of time. Okay, so let's try another one of these. What do I do first? Christian, what do I do first? Okay, where do I find these numbers? Okay, what row am I looking for? Okay, it's raised to the 4th power, so I'm looking at this row. There's 2 ways to pretty much know which row to look at. Since it's to the 4th power, you just go down until you first find a 4, okay? Or, since it's raised to the fourth power, we know it'll have 5 terms, so go to the row with 5 boxes. So 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. Okay, now I'm going to bring down an X on each term and a 2, but since it's a number, I put it in parentheses. Okay, since X was first, it starts out being raised to the fourth power, and then it descends from there. And then 2 does the opposite. It starts out to the 0 power, and it ascends. So that each term, the exponents add up to 4. Okay, now from there you just start simplifying. In this term 1, we have a 1 times an x to the 4th times a 2 to the 0, which is also 1. So when you multiply those 3 things together, you get x to the 4th. Okay, in term 2, we have a 4 times an x cubed times a what? 2, and when you multiply those 3 things together, you get 8x cubed. Okay, in the third term, we have a 6 times x squared times 4. And when you multiply those together, you get 24x squared. Okay, next term, you have a 4 times x to the first, you don't really have to write the 1, times what? 8. 2 cubed is 8, and so when you multiply those together, you get 32x. And then the fifth term, we have a 1 times x to the 0, which is a 1, times 2 to the 4th, which is a 16. 1 times 1 times 16 is 16. Okay, I want you to go ahead and try this one completely by yourself. X plus 2 cubed. Okay, guys, let me go over this one. Shh. The first thing you should have done, shh, get quiet. Shh. Since it's cubed, your coefficients will be 1, 3, 3, 1. Then you bring down the x on each term and the 2. X was first, so it starts out cubed, and then it descends. And then 2 does the opposite. Now you just start simplifying. 1 times x cubed times 2 to the 0 is 1, will make x cubed. 3 times x squared times 2 is 6x squared. 3 times x times 4 is 12x. And then 1 times 1 times 8 is 8. And that's the final answer for that one. Alright, here we go. You should have used the coefficients 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. Then you would have brought down a y for each one. And then you would have brought down the 5 inside the parentheses on each term. Okay, y starts out to the 5th power and then it descends. And then 5 does the opposite. It starts out to the 0 power and it ascends. Okay, after that you just start simplifying. So we have a 1 times y to the 5th times what? 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So when you multiply those 3 things, you get a y to the 5th. Then for the second term, we have a 5 times y to the 4th times 5. And when you multiply those, you get a, right? For the third term, we have a 10 times y cubed times 25. Because 5 squared is 5 times 5. And that makes a
250 y cubed.
right? Okay, for this one we have a 10 times y squared times what? What is 5 cubed?
125.
Okay. And then what is 10y squared times 125? Right? Okay, then for this term, the fifth term, we have 5 times y the first times, what's 5 to the fourth? And then when you multiply it by the 5y, you get, right? And then for this one, we have 1 times y to the 0, which is 1, times 5 to the 5th, which is, and when you multiply those by 1 and 1, you get, right. Okay? Your classwork is to do these 3. Your homework is in the textbook. Okay?